Has been more outrage in the mainstream media, more attention paid in the mainstream media to that stupid clown story at the Missouri State Fair than there has been to this wanton murder in Oklahoma.
The nation was stunned by two murders, raising questions of how the media covers black-on-white crime. First, a 22-year-old Australian college student gunned down in Oklahoma by three teens, two of them black, in what could be called a thrill killing. And then 88-year-old World War II veteran Delbert Shorty Belton was beaten to death, allegedly by two black teens. One arrest has been made, the other suspect still at large. Yet in the wake of the George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin verdict, race seems to be taking center stage. But are all crimes covered equally? With me, Democratic strategist Richard Fowler and political commentator and author Ann Coulter. I'm going to start with you, Ann. Is there a double standard in how the media covered the Trayvon Martin story and these two murders that occurred just this week?
Yes, absolutely. This is what my last book is about, Mugged, Racial Demagoguery from the 70s to Obama. It was much worse in the 70s, 80s.
What was much worse in the 70s?
Well, we're getting back to it. Obama brought it all back, and that's this racial etiquette from the media where they don't report on the much more common black-on-white crime, but the very rare man bites dog story, a white-on-black crime, that gets covered hysterically, not because it's a man bites dog story, but they act as if, no, this is all too common. It's the racism in America. No, it's very rare. And one example from my book, rape cases, interracial rape cases, the number of black-on-white rapes going back, I have 15 years. 15 years, there are about 1,000 to 2,000 a year black-on-white rapes. For 15 years, according to the Department of Justice victimization surveys, the number of white-on-black rapes are either 0.0 or sample too small for a number.
Let me ask you this, Ann. Isn't it more about black-on-black crime? Isn't that really the biggest category, black-on-black?
Yes.
But they don't talk about that either.
We're in a racial war. Blacks are winning, and they're fighting other blacks, but they are kicking their butts.
Richard, let's hear what you have to say about this, Richard.
I mean, thanks for having me, Judge. I got to tell you, I've seen the media cover this particular case, this Oklahoma shooting, this whole entire week. So I'm not really sure where Ann's getting her information from, but we've seen this covered almost every day this week since it's happened.
I think you've been watching a lot of Fox News, which I salute.
That's not true at all. It was on CNN. It's been on MSNBC. It's been on all the local networks here in Washington, D.C. So I think I don't know. Maybe you're not watching. Maybe you're watching the wrong channel.
Well, yeah,
the president said, I haven't heard about this
Ann makes an interesting point. Do you remember when the president weighed in saying he could have been Trayvon Martin? You didn't hear him weighing in and saying,
which one he would have been.
This could have happened to his son or anybody. I mean, why that case? I mean, coming from the top, Richard, isn't it?
No, but Judge, I think there's a big distinction between the Trayvon Martin case and this individual in Oklahoma. First, let's be honest here, right? Anytime somebody is killed, it's a heinous thing, it's a horrible thing. The one thing that connects Trayvon and the guy who died in Oklahoma is that they were both young individuals who had their whole lives ahead of them. The distinction here is that there is indication that there's a possibility of racial profiling in the George Zimmerman case, which made it a reason for the president to comment. As an African-American man, just like I'm an African-American man, there is people racially profiling. In this particular situation, Trayvon Martin was racially profiled.
Even the prosecutor brought these charges without going to the grand jury, I might add, said that race had nothing to do with it, that it was in response to inquiry about who that person was that would look suspicious. But let's get back to this. You say that there is enough coverage of this black-on-white crime, and you say that there isn't.
Well, you technically introduced the subject, but I do think it's been covered a lot more on Fox News than it has been other places. And part of the reason this and the Shorty case, I don't think the Shorty case has shown up any place on MSNBC. Yes, it was the cover of Drudge. We do have some of our own media now. But the only reason they're even being covered by Fox News and by Drudge is because it's in the wake of Trayvon Martin, when we were told that, black people in America have to be afraid
Richard,
of whites murdering them.
What about the tweets of 16-year-old, I believe, James Edwards? 90% of white people are nasty. # hate them. It's time to start taking lives. I've never been this meaning mad in my life. I mean, this guy actually is on social media talking about how much he hates white people, and then what you've got are the two of them in the back seat, and they're killing a white person.
Well, but I hear that. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he should. I mean, I think that tweet is inappropriate. I think we should all work on getting along. At the end of the day, I think, Judge, you can agree here.
No, this isn't about getting along, Richard, with all due respect. This is about hoodlums running around and killing other people.
I agree
This
with
is
you,
about
Judge.
an 88-year-old man who was beaten to death, someone who put his life on the line for us. Why? Why is there so much anger?
I agree with all those points. I'm not justifying the crime at all. I think in both situations, all those thugs should go behind bars if they are proven guilty.
All right. Richard, last question. Who do young black people in America look up to today?
I mean, I think there's a lot of good role models out there for them to look up to. I think a lot of folks look up to the President of the United States. You could look up to your family. I mean, that's a hard question to answer, but I think there's a lot of African-American role models out
I just
there.
want to answer why quickly, because that goes back 2 books back to Guilty. It is very, very heavily associated with single motherhood and the destruction of mostly the black family, but the white families are catching up.
All right, Richard and Ann, thanks. And coming up, why your company might dump your spouse's health care coverage. Hint, the president has something to do with it. And later, no English? No problem. The Supreme Court in one state is giving the thumbs up to jurors who don't speak the English language. The controversial ruling you're not going to believe.